with like book list and what's the basic Bible of the industry?
Publishers Weekly.
Publishers Weekly.
Yeah, I mean some of the papers, Village Voice.
Right.
What's the Boston Globe? Some of the city papers.
Right.
But I think I mean the it's interesting you mentioned this blog experience where you had thousands of people go to your page all of a sudden for the mention, because it is true that part of the power of having an internet presence is getting your book written about on a blog that happens to be very popular, even if it's not your own.
Right, right.
You know, somebody out there has a number of followers and they're all interested in a similar topic, and they're commenting on this blog largely because they trust it or they find it valuable or a great source, and that person happens to write about your book. Suddenly, you know, the surge in sales can far outpace a review in the papers.
Right, they have the following.
Yeah, and people, also there's the impulse buy online. You know, if you read a review in a newspaper, having a cup of coffee, a piece of toast, you take the dogs out, and you know, you might have it in the back of your head, but you're not at a bookstore, you're not going to immediately grab it. Whereas online, it's a click. You know, if you see somebody's really enthusiastic about a certain book, and you can click on and order it from one of those big sites. You know, it's much more immediate. So.
But the other aspect of the internet is that anyone with a blog can review your book and might trash you.
Yeah.
You know, have you read bad reviews of yourself on the internet?
Yes. In fact, Kirkus gave me a terrible review.
Okay.
Voya said it was ridiculous and depraved. And so I.
That's bad.
And so that's voice of young adult literature, and it is the name of the thing. And so what I did in that actual post about Neil Gaiman, it was kind of like I took on this persona of this extremely entitled author. Who was like talking to his critics, and I was like talking about naming the critics by name, saying like, you know, Lynn Farrell Stover of Voya says that Order of Oddfish in Eldritch City, it's difficult to imagine. Imaginary cities should be. I mean, you should be able to imagine them. It's like, yes, you should be able to imagine imaginary things, Lynn Farrell Stover. It's difficult to imagine Lynn Farrell Stover. For this woman, 3 names in all, lives inside my fingernails. The whole plot about her being like this parasite in 3rd grade, kind of always undermining me and talking at me. The whole premise of the blog post is there was this kid who showed up at the American Library Association conference in Denver in January. This 15-year-old kid wearing a 3-foot-long red and white hat for Oddfish, and like agitating about it and like saying like, you people have to, like, the book like this doesn't come along every once in a while, like it's really, really funny. And then I didn't get an award, and I was so angry that I did not get an award, but I was so inspired by this kid that that's what led to the blog post and me kind of wins. And so my agent and my editor said, you should if you ran that process before you posted it, we would have told you not to post it because it's like. Because we want to keep a good relationship with the librarians, but all these other librarians kind of cross-post and say, oh, we really like this review. Like the librarians are this kind of like scabbed horde of like kind of like troglodytes. These like unholy rituals at the ALA conference. And that's why I mentioned Neil Gaiman, because I said that he was 2 millimeters tall, and all of his books are written by bees.
Awesome. Did you hear from that reviewer? Did she ever?
From Lynn Farrell Stover? No, at the end, like she flutters away from my fingernails to go like. Anyway, no, I haven't.
Just trust me, she will have read it.
But
they do. They go and they look at they Google their names.
Yeah,
to see what people they have kicked in the ass. Right, right.
Especially a name as obnoxious as Lynn Farrell. Actually, I made friends with this woman who works at the New York Public Library Children's Division. I don't even know if she's here. Betsy Bird, and she wrote a blog post about me, and like I kind of like that's a good person to know, you know. Of course. So yeah.
All right. All right. Thank you, Amber. All right. Any questions from you? For any of the writers?
Okay. I have a question for the 2 fiction writers. It's kind of a 2-part question. One, what kind of performance background do you have? Because that was amazing. And the What can somebody like a layperson like take from that and put into their like say I'm a children's librarian in a grammar school and I want to do good read alouds like that. What could they take from that?
Wow. Late. I don't know. I mean, I don't have any performance background at all. I don't know. That just kind of, when I was writing it, those were the voices that I heard. For me personally, it's always about kind of impressions. So going into, I need an evil voice, and really, that's it. You heard the evil voice I have. It's supposed to be a demented Peter Lorre because I liked the Peter Lorre movies when I was a kid. I was a bit of a latchkey kid. And, and I really liked how he talked. So I think going into your own kind of inner MPD disorder, personality disorder, and figuring out, like, finding. I mean, the old Krabby is just watch some Monty Python. Or that's John Cleese in drag.